Loot to all my Fems and Rems, pow to all my whales. It is your boy Bison, and we are back today talking about the GOAT project. Of course, I'm talking about Remnants. Remnants just recently released their new light paper, talking a little bit about the tokenomics and economy of the game, how to sustain it, and what their plan is moving forward, as well as a lot of other little tidbits like the new inventory system, like the new land conversion, what you should expect from that. There's so much to digest here. So we'll be talking a little bit about the highlights of the light paper and what it means as far as future implications for the game. Let's get into the video. All right, so first things first, we have been waiting for this forever. In-game economy and tokenomics breakdown. The first page, talking a little bit about their thesis that they need a strong token, they need a sound in-game economy, and an engaging yet passive user experience. So what does that all mean? Well, camp needs to be stabilized. We need to make sure that items still hold value. So when you buy an item, it's not just going to go down. And conversely, items aren't too powerful. There's some sort of use mechanic to where you have to think about game theory when you are using an item. What items do you use? How many items should there be in circulation? All of that stuff contributes to a sound in-game economy. So right now, items are just going up forever. You can only hit tier 3 on some of the items, and they're losing their value quickly because there's so many in circulation. And that's about to change in the next updates in a certain sense. Well, you will still be able to loot items almost infinitely, but the problem is they will now have durability on them. So there will be a certain number of uses before you have to make the decision whether you want to repair it, whether you want to get a new one, whether you want to start over. And obviously there's going to be a bunch more tiers too, so there will be a much stronger need for each of these items. So very cool stuff. That's pretty much the thesis and overview. The big thing we need to talk about is this, their model for tokenomics. One, they explain it incredibly well as far as a infographic goes. So you can see right here, there's two things that a game needs for a sound tokenomics model, and that is putting money into the economy, so putting the token within circulation, and pulling money out of the economy, so pulling tokens out of circulation. And how do we do this? Well, in this game in particular, you go on loot trips, you get camp as reward. Conversely, you can also do LP and P2P trades. That shows like within circulation trades. So there will already be an LP set up by the time this is all fully said and done. There will be 1% of the 300 million camp tokens in existence that will ever be. That will be in the LP, which should have about 3,000 to 4,000 SOL. So we're looking at about a 0.001 SOL to camp price. Which goes without saying, it's actually pretty well priced compared to what we've been seeing on Famous Fox. So I'm not sure if the team took that into consideration, that the economy's kind of figured itself out and we'll just price it on that and see where it goes. Funny how economics works like that sometimes. Regardless, we need money to come out too. So how do we do that? Well, the next infographic kind of explains that. We need to spend resources and camp. Those are the two things that are going to be a recurring theme as far as syncs go. So item upgrades, marketplace, land upgrades, these are all going to require camp. Conversely, there's also going to be item repairs, that's just resource only. Item upgrades and land upgrades will both require resources as well as camp. So we're starting to see, okay, there's going to be stuff coming out of supply. It's like the US economy should work, but we just keep inflating it, you know. This game understood that. They said value's just going to go to zero on camp, on items, if we don't do something, which was always their original goal when they set out on this. They knew that the original state of the game was not sustainable, but it got the game to market soon. Again, incredibly smart approach by the team. I still can't believe this is as undervalued as it is. And you can just see, this is a really well worked graphic showing all the ways that this economy kind of self-sustains and circulates to pull money out of the economy and then recirculate it back in. One thing I did forget to mention on this second page, or this first infographic, is that the team is actually paying themselves in their native token. So they are betting on themselves, and it's going to be vested over 3 years in order to reach that 10% supply of the token. So that's all that's going. There's no VCs involved or anything like that. This is all sustained by the community and the team itself. So I can't explain how bullish that is, right? They need nobody else's help but their community, and they are betting on themselves that they're going to be paid in their token, and they are betting that the value of the token is going to go up. It will sustain its value, and in doing so, they can actually pay themselves and make a living on top of secondary sales and royalties and any other future mints they decide to do. Now we can kind of get into the high level stuff. So remnants are going to make anywhere from 24 to 144 camp per day. That is awesome. And we can kind of see a bell curve as it moves throughout time. We expect power level or average power level of each remnant and femnant to increase and be higher on average. Right now it will stay over here because the max tiers we got was tier 3 and below. We're going to upgrade item tiers to tier 10. As explained later in this light paper, as well as land. Land, as we've been saying in Discord, if you've been paying attention, is going to generate anywhere from 77 to 144 camp per day. Now it will require fuel as an input, so what the cost of that looks like, what the game theory behind that looks like, and the strategy, we won't know until release, and I'll make a video on that, of course, as well, and my strategy upon what I will be choosing to do. But land is going to be vitally important. It will literally generate as much camp passively as a remnant. So less work, more input. So it really just depends on what the reward of that looks like. Talk a little bit about loot trips. We will also have resource runs. So Longwood Mines is where we got the whitelist token for femnants that will convert into a resource run, as well as Blackwood Forest. We can already infer that there's going to be ores and minerals, as well as some sort of timber and lumber. They did post a preliminary resource list in the Discord. I can't find it right off the bat, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. You can also see there's resource related items and new management system. Hallelujah. If you have anything more than 2 remnants, this is like exactly what we need, on top of the fact that we are going off chain for a lot of looting and transferring of inventory and stuff, but you still have autonomy over your NFTs, over your items, over your camp. So hugely bullish. It will speed it up. Obviously Solana's had its issues lately. By moving it off chain will help performance tremendously. Again, we're talking higher power levels, higher tiers for items. So binoculars all the way to night vision goggles, or at least one of the tiers will be called that. So cool. So I'm so excited to see what the tiers bring, how much it's going to cost. This is interesting down here. I think one of the things people have overlooked is that crafting currently costs 250. This looks like it costs 300. It also sounds like up until now, only been upgradable to tier 3, and it costs 2 times the previous tier plus camp. So you had to have 2 tier 2 binoculars plus 250 camp in order to get to tier 3. They're upgrading it to 10 tiers. It will now take one of the previous tiers items plus inputs. So you can actually break down like binoculars, for instance, and they talk about this. You can get some lenses, for instance. It'll have a tier, or it'll have an item list of what you need on top of the item plus camp in order to upgrade the item. So expect it to be more expensive in order to do so, in order to progress through the tiers. As it becomes more of a longevity game, a long play, people are incentivized to reinvest into the ecosystem and get better items. We will have durability too, so items just aren't used forever. There will be a lot of factors that go into this. We'll have some more info as this comes out, but the higher tier, I would expect more durability. I would also expect a higher repair cost when it's all said and done. This will help regulate camp, so keeping camp not inflationary forever. It'll also help with item necessity, so people will actually still need T1 binoculars and stuff like that in the future, and that's good. We want a sustainable economy, and they thought about this extensively. We should also see a lot of drop rate decreases in some of the items, but as we move to a stamina system, we'll see that walkie-talkies and stuff will become more valuable, right? Decrease a loot trip time actually might shoot up to the top of the list as far as importance goes. You want to make the most use of the 14 hours of stamina that you have, which is explained a little bit later. But for now, let's talk a little bit about marketplace. That's going to be an in-game marketplace. Things will be priced in camp. you will be able to buy items, resources, crafting materials, blueprints, all that good stuff is going to be tradable within this marketplace. Land plots, to keep it simple for you, there will be 6 tiers of land. So camp, settlement, compound, village, town, and city. Each of them will have their own benefits. If you can, I would definitely recommend getting up to at least 5 pieces of land. One, we have said this from the start, land is going to be the most valuable thing you can buy. It's going to be more scarce than looters, and we've already seen that. Remnants came out, doubled the supply of looters, but we will still only have 4,000 camps. And once we convert them to land, whatever they get converted to, that's it, right? There will only ever be a certain amount of cities, a certain amount of towns, villages. Once they're converted, it's done. I would suggest getting to a compound if you can. The reason being is because radio tower comes with a compound. The ability to build a radio tower comes with a compound, and that's going to be very important for building your power within Longwood. Obviously, the more tiers you can go up, I highly suggest it. It sounds like this is going to be the real moneymaker within Longwood, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Real quickly, we would just have a brief overview of everything: crafting area, storage, stables, lookout tower, radio tower. Lookout tower will be on 10 and above size plots of land. So villages and towns and cities, those will all have lookout towers or the ability to build them. Stables will matter when it comes to companion management. So eventually we'll get companions that will help feed into the stamina system. Those will be important. I actually think that radioactive bananas right now are probably one of the best things you can possibly own. If zombies are going for 40 soul over the floor price of the remnants, then I think that a radioactive banana could possibly have the same effect for companions, which means they can just keep on looting stamina for you or food in order to feed you stamina. So you basically have a zombie for a fraction of the cost. That is totally not financial advice. Do your own research as always, but just something I'm guessing is going to happen. They haven't revealed any of the utility for radioactive bananas, but I would imagine that it's probably somewhere in line with what it is. As you can see, the stamina system gathered by companions, you can send them on a trip to gather food. Food is consumed by the remnant, and that equals extra stamina. Stamina is going to be very important along with trip time, so you can keep looting throughout the day. Infected, we finally see the utility of zombies. You will have infinite access to any locked off area, which is another reason I think you should be looting rad zone and military base as much as you can right now, because once we start getting durability issues on bolt cutters, on hazmat helmets, then we're going to see that the value of those items looted there are going to skyrocket. I think the fact that you have to get into military base with bolt cutters that have a shortened lifespan, or a lifespan in general with durability, in order to hopefully find a hazmat helmet that also has durability issues, will lead to rad zone having the most important items as it stands right now in the current meta. Looting any and all rad zone items definitely going to yield a bounty, as well as military base for sure. That being said, zombies will definitely be able to access those at any time. That is massive value right there, as well as have unlimited stamina. I personally think that is unreal value. I'm sad I did not pick up a zombie myself, but that is going to be a huge value, a huge ROI boost to your remnant, and I think that a lot of people who are holding zombies or got infected are going to be very happy with this news. Females have the same value as rems. I would expect rems again to have a higher floor premium just because they have items on them. But as we see femnants start building up their inventory, then we should expect that femnants will be about the same price as rems. And then they left this nice little Easter egg. We have no idea what a rem plus fem bonus is, but if you have not picked up one of each, as well as a piece of land, that would be NFA, DYOR, but you probably want to get on that. The bank just sounds like my next nightmare as far as locksmith. It's where I go to realize that I have fucked up and not managed my inventory well, and I get to come reclaim a lot of items that I looted that, you know, should have been managed better. If your inventory is full, this is where items will go. You can deposit and withdraw camp, although I'm not entirely sure why you would want to do that. If it's not earning interest or anything like that. And I did toy with the idea of single-sided staking, but I'm not sure if that's what that's going to do. Like, it's going to just stay in your wallet regardless. So maybe to budget people better who have a terrible spending problem. We're all degens here, not judging. That about does it for the light paper. All right, holy shit, that was a long video. I am so sorry you had to sit through all that, but nonetheless, there was so much to cover in that light paper. Just talking about the highlight, but there's a lot to digest just within those 12 pages of information. I highly suggest you go ahead and read it for yourself. You can find it down below. If you have any questions about Remnants, you can always find me in the Discord channel at BisonTrades on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe, like, and comment for more Remnants and Solana NFT content. That about does it for me on this video. Thank you so much for watching as always. I'll see you on the next one.